strong with religion because every time the hypnosis get to fade, religious people find a way to religiously bring you back into the fold of religion. Religion is monotony. Monotony is required in order to induce the hypnotic state. So anybody want to understand what I'm talking about, there's a preacher named Roy Masters, retired from being a hypnotist to be a preacher. And he have a book called The Hypnosis of Life that explained to you exactly how you was being hypnotized. Now remember, the blood magic is to put you in a stupor. That means that's how they tell the mass group of people to relax with the blood ritual. Because the pheromones from the blood sedates the angelic beings. So they go into this stupor. Because it was the blood of the righteous, it can't be broken until it's been fulfilled. Right? So now we just had to track down who blood did they use to put us under this spell. Right? And we know that the matriarchs now is primed to receive the heritable right back to the land. And so now they need to correct the sisterhood. The sisterhood got to be prepared to fall into that love energy in order to convert this place to heaven on earth. Once they do that, we'll be all right. But I'm gonna tell y'all something else. John D was using the black mirror. You remember that?
Yeah, that's what you just said, the black mirror. And he was right, yeah.
Do you know who else was using the black mirror around that same time, but they was French?
Not Bloody Mary, who French. What's the dude name?
Niccolo Nostradamus. Yep. He was using the black mirror just like John D, except he was in France, a Huguenot, and John D was in English at the gentry.
Then he
advising to the queen.
Then Nostradamus when he trained, he was training Mary. He trained Mary, Bloody Mary, the lady. You know,
I don't remember which one because the John D Elizabeth. I think her name was originally Mary before she became the queen.
I was going to just ask you. Yeah.
Right. I think she was the one that was Mary of Bathory that they called Bloody Mary, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Nostradamus was studying the Hermes or Tahuti's stuff. And he was a high power wizard. Well, that's what they, he was one of their high power wizards. That's why they always promote his right. Now that begs the next question. How does that Nostradamus tie with the slave ship narrative that they gave and the school? Because you was breaking that down a while back, where you said that they took the slave ship and it was really the layout of a church. You had showed
that's Notre Dame.
Okay, Notre Dame. That's what it was. Yeah, go ahead. That's what it was.
Right. So the flyer for the slave ship, with the slave ship on it that they was using to tell us about slavery, is an actual overlay Notre Dame University.
Yeah.
Right. It looked like it could be the blueprints taking away the schematics.
Yeah.
If you go to an aerial view of Notre Dame, it's a perfect if size it to scale where they both the same size and they perfectly fit one over the other.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
I got it somewhere on one of my Instagrams too.
Yeah, we did on the
where I showed.
I'm gonna find that short and cut it. I'm gonna find the short and cut it. I think I had already cut the short off of it though. I think the short already in your phone.
Yeah, I think we did that in the class too, didn't we?
Yeah. On the one called Where We See You Two Black Devils. And the one on how the slave trade was fake. They can go get the tape called How the Slave Trade Was Fake. We did it in that one. That's the one, that main one. I'll lock it in the description. Hey, that brings my next question, Rod. Because they good on this slave narrative. Now, once 1812, this is when we get around the Seminole Wars. in the Gullah Wars, right? Because Andrew Jackson is the one that's running everybody out, trying to run everybody off.
That's like the second or third Seminole War there.
Okay, yeah. So when Andrew Jackson, the Seminoles, when we was fighting them, that was part of the conjure. That was like that, like what part of the conjure? Because that ain't in the conjure. That just ended the physical battle of it. The physical battle of the conjure.
So in the lodges, I don't know exactly who's responsible for because I don't have access to the record. It's a Masonic record. It'll tell you the names of the ones that agreed to the ceasefire. It's the secret treaties. I think it's like 72 secret treaties.
Yeah.
And Trump took him to Mar-a-Lago with him. That's why he got raided. But he wasn't there no more.
That makes sense.
That's what they was looking for. They was looking for the secret treaties because Trump had already sent them to the military under heavy guard in order for the conjure to be broke.
And that's why he holding the Bible outside of the church upside down.
Right. That means that the Bible spell is broke.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi tore the Bible up on the podium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same day. That was the same exact date.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the Pope announced, he washing his hands. He been did that actually before they told the Bible. So that gets that, yeah. So the Pope already know the conjure.
That's what made the other Pope step down. Because they wouldn't listen to him no more. Right? Because all this stuff was over with. He was telling them. Well, I think that was the Barack Obama letter.
In 2014, we got that documents too in the folders and the Native American chief folders.
Now everybody think that's a fake letter. Okay, well think it's a fake letter if you want to. It's in the public domain. It's not a secret.
Yeah, everything comes to fruition now.
Yeah. So when they told them they're supposed to dismantle the police and all that stuff. Yep. And told the American public what was going on. But what most of us don't know is Barack Obama was following the orders that old man Bush told him, if they take me out or if they get on to us, you have to sell the country. And that's the only way you're going to be able to get any protection overseas. He's supposed to sell it and flee. He got caught. He can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
They was all around him everywhere he get. This is what that whole situation when they was trying to kill him with Petraeus and all of that. Cause he had pulled off a full-fledged coup on the people of the land, and he ain't from here.
Go ahead.
He pulled the coup on the pale face. You know he don't like for no darky to get over.
Type stuff. But we gotta have a lot of industry leaders on next. They won't be on here, but Zoom. So I want you to come and be at my launch next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Pacific, and actually just take down that passcode. I would love to see us pack the place out. So I'm probably gonna give away some free gifts or something. That is probably what I'm going to do with that. For Friday, we actually I don't have a flyer for it, but we will have our Living in Private class at House of Reawakening Minds. So if you've been wanting to come for our 4 Fridays, we are having it again this 4 Friday coming up. So come out. People come from all over the country for that, Chief. I was telling them I get people to come from Florida and California and everything, and people who live next door across the street won't come over to the House of Reawakening Minds. People come from around the country, but they won't come around the corner.
Well, you know what they say in the Bible, prophet is not without honor except in his own home among his own kindred.
Absolutely.
So the ones closer to you is least likely to see your light.
Yeah. Leto Turner, if you don't like the way I host, you know what? I've been doing this for a while, and you ain't got to be here on my channel. How about that? How dare you talk about I'm not a good host, and I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. I've never seen you on here, whoever you are, and I'm saying that with a smile. I just let my folks get you. Like they can get you. Thank you for whoever said that. China Lynn, your friend. You know, I'm talking about I don't know how to ask good questions. I talk conversationally. I when I'm friends with my
Dr. G,
guests. Yeah, huh?
if you had to explain yourself to somebody that came to your channel to watch your content, you're doing too much.
I know, but I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying because it just jumped up. I'm like, how dare they? No, I'm not offended because they stupid.
Look, if you don't have no hecklers, that means you ain't doing something right. Long as you're doing something right, it's gonna be somebody trying to tell you. Remember, I told you.
Well, all she got to do is
wherever peaceful people congregate. Look, wherever people congregate, peaceful people congregate. The shit started coming in. Can't stand to see two peaceful people having a peaceful conversation. They want some drama. They want some gossip, some juicy. Let's talk about Puffy. Let's talk about Will Smith. I don't care about them people. Let them people live their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you won't dim my shines, honey, whoever you are. I mean, you definitely don't. I think you're new because this is my style. This is who I am. And, you know, it is who I is. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Chief, as always, for coming on. I want to put this back up again, make sure that they know.
Thanks for inviting me over here to your space to come spend this time.
You know, it's always a privilege and an honor to have you here, you know, because we always learn something new. I do, you know, like I said. So, like I said, today, when you told me that he'd been in prison for Larry, who had been in prison for 52 years, I was dumbfounded. I was like, really?
Listen, here go the kicker. His co-defendant been out since the 90s, right? But Larry never killed anybody in his life. But the state case is a murder case. But they know he never killed anybody.
But they just, yeah.
COINTELPRO. If we don't understand that COINTELPRO was they changed the name to Readiness Exercise 1984, and it was exposed during the Iran-Contra trial. I'm just saying.
So I mean, why did he get 100 years? Or I guess they didn't expect him to live this long in that situation, you know.
Well, you know, he had been stabbed several times in prison. He got stabbed in the county jail, and then he got stabbed in prison.
I didn't know that. So they tried to take him out even in there.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's there for a reason. He's survived for a purpose. And somebody said 2,000 years. They gave him 2,000 years.
200.
200 years. About
they're sitting 200 years in the state. You know, in Illinois, they got anybody that have any kind of influence, and they catch them on what they call a class A. I think it's called a class A felony, murder, armed robbery, like that. They try to give them like basketball numbers, 150 to 200, just so they know that if they don't get no relief on the appeal, they won't never get out. So they give them life, you go up for parole in 20 years. You still come up parole. Like his last parole hearing that he went to, they denied him because he was under federal indictment. Okay. So it's a whole lot of guys that they didn't want to let out. That's out now. Right. You know.
Well, I hope his family listens to what your advice. Which could you say it again so that just in case somebody's watching this in the family, they know the best way to go about?
I wouldn't go to the governor for clemency. I would have the lawyers file a special parole interview based on the sentence commutation from the president. And I would use his commutation as a letter of recommendation from the highest office in the land.
And the reason I wouldn't the governor is because he and Trump are at war.
Right. So we don't want them to use Larry for a political ping pong ball. Because that's what ended up happening. He don't like Trump, so he won't give Larry no air. Larry ain't got nothing to do with Trump.
Right.
Other than Trump giving him some relief from that trumped up federal garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. George Bush, Ronald Reagan, Oliver North, and I think the guy name was Poindexter was all indicted in the for the Iran Contra. Ronald Reagan and George Bush walked clean. Oliver North I think he got a 1 year probation and a 1 day suspended sentence in jail. Now, they wasn't bringing over a key. They was bringing over tonnage. Let that sink in. And this man ain't did nothing but told all of us. He the reason why I was in there reading all them damn books. I didn't know what the hell they got me in the library reading all them damn books for. Somebody had to do it. He said, we need somebody to hit the library hard, read everything in there. I'm reading cookbook recipes, reading books in the library. Just so I can make sure I don't miss nothing. Reading law books, history books, obscure history, revisionist history, mathematics, science. Reading all this stuff. I'm like, then I get to the point, I'm like, why am I reading this? And then some messenger come along and say, you don't need the paper to get your PhD, you need the knowledge. But the only thing he ever told us is the children that's trying to do right, protect them. We don't need no more gangsters. That's Larry. We don't need no more gangsters. We need doctors, lawyers, scientists, mathematicians. This is what he's been telling us since 74. Since he he didn't even want the position. He was forced under the threat of death to take the position. That in of itself should be enough to give him some reprieve. And Don Dirk tell the story on he was either on Vlad. He was on one of them podcasts and he told the story he was there. And they was like, Larry, these dudes say you their leader, whether you want to be or not. You can't shirk tribal responsibility.
No.
You bring the whole tribe down on your head. But when they got you thinking that it's something other than tribal, then the government can manipulate the story. Remember Malcolm said the media will have you thinking that your worst enemy, your best friend is your worst enemy. Media manipulation is all it is.
Well, I'm glad you listened. I'm glad you listened and studied and read and absorbed all that you did and continue to do that. It's become a way of life for you.
I tell you, if I known how to be doing all this social media, I wouldn't have did it.
I know people.
I hate social media.
Some folks in the chat have said they want to get in touch with you, but I know the only way they can get in touch with you is via social media. You have a YouTube page. They can DM you in YouTube, but there's no email that you give out or any website. So you'd have to go to. And do you have an Instagram or TikTok?
Yeah, the Instagram is a SikApe. I haven't did anything on TikTok yet, but I'm thinking about moving over there because I've been shadow banned on Instagram for over a year.
Oh, really?
They had me banned on Facebook for 2 years before they let me do a live.
Wow.
So when they blocked me out of Facebook, I went over to Instagram to do my lives.
Mm-hmm. So now
then they blocked me out. Yeah. Then they blocked me on Instagram and they forced me back to Facebook.
Well, so
I'm thinking about picking up TikTok because that's a whole nother niche.
Yeah, it is. And you got these little. I see you on TikTok sometimes, but people take, I guess, a little excerpt from your Instagram and then they put it on TikTok because that's some of those reactionary videos, and it'll be, oh, that's right. I've seen you on there, but I know it's always with somebody else making the, printing it, publishing it. So yeah. Somebody
Yeah,
said,
they did some amazing stuff with the information I put out. They done made AI animations and all kind of stuff.
oh really? Let's say Denzel. No, sorry. Yeah. Say yeah, Rod Hayes. Yeah. So okay. We added a little 20 more minutes, and Twitter is supposed to have more freedom. They show crazy things there. So do they have videos actually? I guess you can actually go live on Twitter. Except somebody saying
I don't know. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use that.
X or whatever it's called now. I believe it's called X.
Yeah, it's called X now.
Yeah. So yeah, check them out. As many places as you can show up, get this information out, and I know that people will be, enhance their lives, and the knowledge will be. Oh, spell SikApe. Do whoever see it on the screen? I don't know if you're just listening, but for PayPal, if that's what you're asking, it's SIKAPE01. Yeah.
But Instagram is the SikApe with no numbers.
The THESIKHPE. APE. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Facebook is just Rod Hayes.
Okay. Yeah, that one's easier. All right. So okay. Well, listen, we're gonna go, and like I told you, I'll be back on Friday with Grand Chic. And for those of you who come to my launch on Saturday, I'd love to have you there. Learn about some stuff that's going to help you feel and look better. So I'm being the poster child for it at 70. So. Right offhand,
we were more discussing the organic original tribes over here, the old Mississippians, and the way that we moved across the land for the